I'm Sister Evelyn McCloskey at IBVM, and I have many happy memories of Carmichael. And I would say it probably was my best place to be. And I started out as a teacher there, and then after 3 years, the person who was principal decided not to stay, and so they said to me, Evelyn, we need a principal. And I said, I can't be principal. So 8 years later, I was still principal anyway. And I have many, many happy memories. We had a day when the gym teacher decided to make the children aware of people that were handicapped. So we had wheelchairs and things around, and so I decided I'd get in one of the wheelchairs. It was motorized, and it was a patio area, sidewalk on each side. So I'm going down, and one of the kids from the classroom says, Sister, do a wheelie. And so that was my life in Carmichael. And I hated, every time, when I knew I had to go back to Chicago, every person I told I'd cry, and then they'd say, it's okay, you know, we'll miss you. My ministry now, well, I'm old now, and older than I was, and so I say to myself, what am I doing here? And I say, well, this is the place for me now. And I meet lots of people and engage with people, and it's just a good life.
Hi, I'm Connie Steffen. I was at Carmichael in the late 70s. I taught 4th grade math with Jen Harlan, and I also did PE for the lower grades. If you could call it PE, it was more like supervised games. And that one of my memories of the supervised games was playing kickball with the 2nd grade. And we were doing a nice kickball game, and this one kid hit a beautiful hit, but one of the fielders caught it. So he immediately started crying because he was out. That's when I found out how fragile younger kids were. And in math, I remember one particular time when I forget exactly what we were doing, but this one kid wanted some help with something, and I kind of hesitated giving her some help, and then she figured it out all by herself, and so she was real proud of herself, and she said, oh, you didn't tell me so that I would figure it out, learn for myself. I said, yes, that's right. I remember the teachers being a very loving community among themselves. But I know that I enjoyed my time very much when I was in Carmichael. Now one of my ministries is Spread. And Spread is a program from the Archdiocese of Chicago that is for young people and adults who have developmental disabilities. And we do, it's community building basically for them. And we do activities. We do a little bit of getting to know Jesus and being a part of the larger faith community that we belong to. And our parents always tell us how much our friends enjoy coming to Spread. I have a group that are adults, and we have developed a very good bond of community, and we all enjoy each other, the catechists and the friends together.
Hi, I'm Sister Barb Nelson, and I taught 6th, 7th, and 8th grade at Assumption way back in 1968 to 70. And then I got moved to Phoenix. I have some unique memories of Assumption, including trying to help with the girls' softball team. I couldn't even throw a ball up and hit it myself, let alone hit it when someone else pitched it. But we had great parent support and enthusiasm. And they were the real coaches of the baseball team. I was just there for effect, I guess, maybe. I really enjoyed teaching at OLA, and teaching the junior high math and science gave me a new way of seeing math and science through students' eyes, because I was pretty new out of college at that point, majoring in math and science, but still it was higher level math and science. So one of the things I had to learn was how to bring the math that needed to be taught and the science that needed to be taught to the level where students could grasp it, and then help get them ready to go on to high school. I worked with some great teachers, Mrs. Davis, Mrs. Harlan, Mrs. Leggett, Sister Anthony was the principal. We had a great faculty there who really all had the kids learning at heart. And sure, kids would act up once in a while, but in general, you all were really good students. So when I figured I left OLA in 1970, that was 55 years ago. Many of you were just entering your teens during that time. So I can see about how old you would be today. And you could be grandparents today. That's a little scary. Later on, I came back to California to Loretto High School and was the principal there for 7 years. Now I am the treasurer for our community and in the United States, so I handle a lot of books and checks and investments and things like that. And I wish all of you a very happy anniversary, and I hope your students that I taught are enjoying your golden years, so to speak.
Good morning. I'm Sister Mary Carton, and I live in Wheaton, Illinois right now. But I was at Carmichael at OLA from 1970 to 1975. The first year was a disaster. I taught 8th grade, and if you meet anyone from that class, they're right, I was a disaster. But the next year I moved to 4th grade, and I found my great love of teaching and the gift of creativity that I had that I never knew I had. I enjoyed, one of the events was the Metric Olympics, where we had to learn the metric system because by 1980 it was going to be the system of the United States. That never happened, but we did learn how to measure in metrics. I mixed it with a unit on mythology, and so at the end we had all the gods and goddesses from the Norse, the Greek, and the Romans introduce themselves on stage. Most came in costume, but Venus did not come as a naked statue. She actually came dressed. There was a child there who could not read, but he listened to all the stories. So he was the MC for the whole show, and he remembered every single god and goddess that was in there. I was so amazed by him for what he could do. And he did later on learn how to read, but for some reason he just hadn't been taught. There were lots of things I remember. I think, though, that one of the big things was my final vows. In '74, I made my final vows in the parish. And for me, it was all of the students there had helped me realize I was where I belonged as a teacher, and I was there as I belonged as a religious woman. I am very, very grateful for that. I continued to teach for 49 years, and then I didn't. I was in public school for 23 of those years because Mary Ward, our founder, told us to go where the need was greatest. And the need was greater in the public school because at that time, everyone was running away from public school and coming to Catholic school because they didn't want to be with those people, those being immigrants, special ed, and black. It was just a terrible time in the history of the Catholic schools. So I went to the public schools, and I thoroughly enjoyed my time there. I stopped for a while to train Sister Krista Parra as a young nun. She had come to us from Arizona, and that was great as well. I enjoyed her and learned how to play again in a lot of ways. Because she was from Arizona and I was from California, we had never made snow angels. So we spent one whole day freezing, but making snow angels. I went back to teaching in Sacramento at St. Patrick's on the south side. But meanwhile, I have done work with returning Catholics. I've worked on bereavement committees, the funeral committees of lots of places, penitential rite in lots of parishes. I've volunteered all kinds of places. I couldn't begin to imagine it, but it's because religious life is evolving, and I hope that you understand that religious life, when we were there, we were all focused on education because training the next leaders and bringing you to justice so that you could lead others to justice was our main goal. But then to stand on the fringes of society meant leaving the classrooms because lay teachers were doing an excellent job. Principals were taking over and freeing us to go again where the need was greatest. And so the sisters that you hear today, they're all going to have gone somewhere else. And God's work continues to be done. And if you're considering religious life, don't think about it as being a teacher necessarily, but as going where the need is greatest and giving your life and your love to that.
Well, this is a nice surprise to be able to go backward in time to Carmichael, Our Lady of the Assumption, many, many happy, happy years there. And I just want to say congratulations to all of you. And it would be wonderful to see you in person, but I know that's not possible. And my name is Sister Mary Howard Moriarty, and I think I was at Carmichael about 8 or 9 years. And I had a 7th and 8th grade, and I don't know if you remember Sister Margaret Quinlan, who is deceased, but I remember one memory that sticks out is that on April Fool's Day, she must have gone over to the school early. But anyway, when I came over and I put my key in the door and I opened up the door, all the desks were turned backwards. So the desks were not where they should be. And of course, I knew immediately that it was Sister Margaret who did it, and she denied it all the time. But I know she did it. Anyway, we had some good times among the faculty, and we had a wonderful time with the children and students there. You were great, and I enjoyed teaching there, and everything was wonderful. And then in 1979, I had to move because I was going into vocation work. And I was in that work into Canada 6 months for 6 years, and then also in the States for 6 months, and then it was 6 months. Altogether it was 6 years. And then following that, I just continued teaching and was at Mary Ward Center for a while, 20 years almost. And then now I'm at Mercy Circle with Sister Evelyn, who was the best principal I think I ever had, and she was wonderful to the faculty, and she was so good with the children. So I do have happy memories of everything that went on there. So good luck to all of you. I still pray for all my students, and thank you very much for helping us to enjoy your celebration now.